But there's a lot to talk about on the basis that I think there's a lot happening that is triggering, I think it's fair to say. Not just triggering in terms of the people that might be watching talk, but triggering in terms of the population of Britain. Now, I'm afraid, and again, I say this without any intention to incite, but rising up peacefully to say, enough is enough. You cannot keep bringing these people in. Bearing in mind, I think not only are we up to 25,000 boat migrants in the first 7 months of this year, but I think it was Friday, 900 arrived. There's a cost of that. And of course, I think there was a think tank very recently, Duncan, that said it costs up to £400,000 per migrant over the life of that migrant in Britain, in terms of housing, NHS, the 46 quid a week that they get, and so on and so on. And yet it seems that some of them have rather a high propensity to commit offences. There's a particular hotel, I think it's the one at the Barbican, which has 40 migrants within it, that over the last 3 years have been charged with a total of 91 offences. What on earth is going on?
Hey guys, my name is Modi and you are welcome to Modi Speaks. It is indeed a problem when part of the West think it is okay to import culturally incompatible people into their countries. People who don't even understand that women are equal human beings who deserve respect and honor. Take a look at this.
The case that was heard up in Warwickshire yesterday, the Afghan asylum seekers, how they dragged a 15-year-old girl into the bushes before raping her. Initially, you were never meant to know their names, but one organisation, the Daily Mail, lodged an appeal against that, and credit to Judge Sylvia de Bertano-Dano, who agreed. So we must thank the judge for that. Then we were told, and I think this probably makes sense, we can't see the video of the ordeal this woman went through because she filmed some of it, because it could have led to mass rioting. We were also initially not to be told that they were Afghan arrivals on the small boat crossings. Been in journalism a while. Facts are quite important. Who, what, where, when, why, how. Fortunately, because of this judge allowing much of it to be heard, we can give you a better report. And here's LBC's Midlands reporter, Luke Shanahan, with all the details. Luke.
Morning, Nick. Yes, 17-year-olds Jan Yahanzeb and Isra Niazal pleaded guilty in October to the rape of a 15-year-old girl in a park in Leamington Spa on the 10th of May. She'd been separated from her friends in Newbold Common, a country park just outside the town, when Yahanzeb dragged her off into the bushes as she shouted again and again, begging him to let go. She was able to record some video on her phone of the moment she was abducted, and in it you can hear Yahanzeb telling his fellow defendant Niazal in Pashto to follow as he leads her to a more secluded part of the park, shushing her cries for help, and then you see him put a hand over her mouth to silence those cries. The prosecution say the footage is highly distressing, and what followed was horrific. The young girl eventually escaped, and a member of the public came to help her, advising her to call the police and then waiting with her until she was safe. In a victim impact statement, the girl, who can't be identified for legal reasons, said, "The day I was raped changed me as a person. Now every time I go out, I don't feel safe." We can identify the two defendants after multiple applications to the judge to lift their anonymity, despite them both being younger than 18. The judge said reporting restrictions in this case could lead to speculation, which might see innocent people targeted. The judge also told the pair they had betrayed the interests of genuine refugees. Both defendants came to the UK as unaccompanied child asylum seekers and were staying in taxpayer-funded accommodation in Warwickshire at the time of the attack.
This 15-year-old British girl, innocent, full of life, was abducted, brutalized and raped by two Afghan asylum seekers who washed up on British shores, just like the Trojan horse we all saw coming. And to rub salt on the wound, their lawyer had the gall to blame it on cultural differences. Yeah, you heard that right. In 2025, in the heart of England, a defense for brutal savagery was because the perps aren't used to women being equal. That the wicked criminals were not used to a society where women are free and deemed equal to men. Just think about that for a minute.
And I'm sorry, but if you as a country allow young men who come from countries in which women aren't even classed as second-class citizens, and you put them up in four-star hotels, allow them to work illegally, their attitude towards women is completely different to ours. So the social effects of this are appalling as well.
Okay, so here's what's going on. A 15-year-old girl in Warwickshire, England, was raped by two asylum-seeking Afghan men. Their lawyer then blamed the attack on cultural differences. He said his client was not used to a society where women are free and deemed equal to men. And that defense right there is exactly why those young men likely shouldn't have been there in the first place. And again, this is in England, but we can take that, look at it, and learn from it and start applying the necessary mentality to stop things like this from happening. We can start applying that mentality and acting on it in the US. For example, you can watch someone get hit by a car and then decide, you know what, maybe I shouldn't walk out in the road and get hit by a car. We don't have to wait for this to start happening in mass in the United States. We can see it happening over in Europe and work to make sure it doesn't start happening here. This is why we need borders. This is why ICE matters. If you see someone talking about get rid of ICE, we don't need borders, do not listen to them. They are not good for our country. We need people who enforce our border laws. This keeps our country sustainable. From an economic standpoint, we can't just import the whole world. That's going to overwhelm our systems. On top of that, we can work to keep people out who don't have the same cultural values as we do. We can keep people out and remove people who don't want to assimilate to our culture and our way of life. Let them go to a different country then. We should 100% be paying deep attention to who we let in this country.
Guys, this is indeed horrible, okay? The footage of this particular incident was so disturbing and so heartbreaking. It was so violent that even hardened cops couldn't stomach it without breaking down. This young 15-year-old child was left broken, changed forever. In her own victim impact statement, she said it plain and simple. This attack has changed me as a person. Crimes, particularly sexual offenses committed by asylum seekers, have increased exponentially in places like the UK. According to Reuters, just last month, an Afghan national pleaded guilty to raping a 12-year-old girl in Nuneaton in central England, okay, while an Ethiopian man was jailed in September after being convicted of sexually assaulting a teenage girl and another woman in Epping, north of London. Rape cases are reported every hour in places like London, yet you keep hearing their senseless leaders chanting, "Diversity is our strength." I'm not even talking about the UK grooming gangs, okay? We are over 80% Pakistani Muslim men in high-profile cases like Rotherham, where 1,400 girls were raped, trafficked, and doused in bleach. And all the police could do was look away to avoid being labeled racist. Statistics do not lie. Foreign nationals, disproportionately from Muslim-majority countries, make up 47% of sexual offense charges in London alone. Rape rates are skyrocketing, up 400% in some areas since the migrant waves hit. And the culprits are always military-aged men, mostly single men, flooding in on fake asylum claims. Horrible economic opportunists, or worse, bringing Taliban mindsets to Tesco towns. In Canada, you hear the same story. Toronto no-go zones, skyrocketing assaults on women by newcomers. In Birmingham and Bradford, you have Sharia patrols. Sharia, guys, Sharia patrols in the United Kingdom. Can you even imagine that? You have halal-only schools, crosses ripped from flags, complete chaos and arrant disrespect for rules and culture. Because if you import the third world, guys, you become the third world. People are clearly angry in the comment section of this video, and they are calling out the nonsense. Somebody said there are 50 million Muslims in Europe, 40 million of whom receive social benefits. Shocking data. I mean, this is actually true. This person said, be like Poland. Poland refused to take immigrants from Islamic countries. Poland was accused of Islamophobia and Muslim hatred. Today, Poland is safe and their citizens are living peacefully. Poland has no street riots and rallies in support of terrorist Hamas. If you try to make everything multicultural, you end up with no culture at all. This is the highlight of the comments for me, and that is why the West is losing itself in this quest to absorb everybody and blend in every nonsense, all in the name of multiculturalism. Some cultures just do not align, and there is no two ways about it. There is nothing you can do about it. And trying to accommodate these different non-compatible cultures mean that you lose your culture in the process. Globalism is the absurd belief that Muslims in Morocco who saw off heads and the liberal Scandinavia backpackers to whom these heads formerly belonged to share some sort of universal value system that will allow them to unite under a single system of governance. Yeah, no, exactly. These guys who come from cultures where it is okay to rape and to disrespect women can never ever coexist in a society where raping and disrespecting women is not allowed. This comment shows the statistics for violent crimes in Germany. Take a look. Yeah, you can go through it. Now, this comment said, it takes a special kind of lunatic to think that importing welfare recipients who want to kill us is a good idea. You have to be extremely to even think that way, guys. That is pure suicidal empathy. And I like what Simon Unleashed said about it. He said, it blows my mind how so many people can't seem to see that many of these cultures are not compatible with modern society. People feel bad for them all they want, but they still have a few hundred years of maturing to do before they can be trusted in a free society. You can argue all you want, but you cannot tell me that he is not telling the truth. Now, one of the Afghan human waste who raped this 15-year-old English child goes by the name Jahanzeb, okay? Now, a translation of Jahanzeb's words in the clip filmed by the poor victim revealed that he was urging his friend to join him quickly before adding, "Oh my God, I'm a Muslim," in 1 minute. Oh my God, I'm a Muslim. This is proof that culture indeed differs and it is greatly incompatible. Just like Theo Rush put it, proof, as if we needed any more, that Islam is synonymous with rape. It is a vile doctrine and it has no place in our peace-loving nations. He went further to add, it is important to remember that he wasn't just a rapist who happened to be Muslim. He was a child rapist precisely because he was Muslim. Now, I want you to have that at the back of your mind. It is not just coincidence that Muslims all over the West are committing rape and violent crimes at exponential rates compared to other demographies. It shows that this is embedded in their culture. Now, how can you reconcile this culture with Western culture? It is going to be nothing but suicide. The fact that the evil lawyer who gave this stupid excuse for those devilish rapists have not been disbarred and stripped of his license shows you how lost, how utterly lost England is. This innocent 15-year-old girl represents every Western young girl you can ever think of.
Please do not let this become the fate of other young children. You have to act now while you still can, guys. You have to fight. You really have to fight. I don't know what else to say anymore. I just don't know. All I can do right now is to make you guys aware of how dangerous things are getting. You really need to fight, please.